Hello, my name is Dr. Homer Ferguson, and I am the organist choirmaster here at Emmanuel Episcopal Church in Southern Pines, North Carolina. This third video is a continuance of our in-depth organ tour of the C.B. Fisk Opus 145 pipe organ located here at Emmanuel Episcopal Church. You can see the facade of the organ behind me. Today, we're going to travel all the way up to the top of the organ, where the swell division is located. We will see the pipe work and examine all of the stops of the swell division. I will then play short musical excerpts so you can hear the different sonorities and timbres of the stops. So, let us begin by finding our way to the swell division. As we enter the choir loft, we see the case of Opus 145. The console is located here in the center and on the lowest level of the choir loft. We're going to go and examine the pipe work of the swell division, which is the upper keyboard of the console. To enter the organ, we unlock this panel, which gives us access to the instrument. Inside, we find a very well-lit instrument. On the lowest level, we have the pipework for the pedal division. We will bypass that for now and take this long ladder to the top of the organ. At the second level is the great division. We will examine that in the next video. So here we go. As I sneak past some of the open wood pipes of the 16-foot principal stop of the pedal, I come to the top of the ladder and find myself looking at the swell box enclosure. Here we are at the top of the organ, and I'm standing next to the swell box. All of the pipework in the swell division is enclosed. That is, it is located inside this heavily constructed freestanding room where shades on both sides and at the front allow the organist to control the volume of this division. That control is done at the console with the swell expression shoe. And that shoe operates these shutters that you see to my side. If I move them, you can see how these shutters move, and they either let organ sound escape or they trap it. This allows this division to do what it is designed to do, which is to have a very large dynamic range. And this range is particularly important for what this division is designed to do best, and that is to accompany. This division is oriented front to back. That is, the lowest pipes or the largest pipes of the stops in this division are located at the front, and the smallest pipes are located at the back. Now, I'm going to go to the console and I'm going to operate the swell expression shoe. I want you to notice behind me that the two shutters right at the front, behind my head here, will start to open first. Those shutters give us just a little more dynamic range and expression from this division. Now, let's go have a look and see how this operates. As we enter the swell enclosure, you can see the front-to-back orientation of the pipework. The smallest pipes, or the highest notes in each stop, is located here at the back. And then as we progress towards the front, you see the largest pipes, or the lowest notes, of each stop.
The viol da gamba 8 and its sister rank celeste 8 are string stops, both of which are modeled after the strings of Aristide Cavaillé-Coll, Parisian organ builder of the 19th century. These two ranks are uniquely French Romantic in sound, offering a timbre that is at once wiry, rich in harmonics, and uninhibited. Their distinctive sound is due to multiple parameters, including narrow scaling, hammered tin body material, overlength bodies with tuning slots that begin one body diameter down from the pipe tops, low cut-ups, skived, that is, thinned on the outside, upper lips, and, most importantly, speech aids known in French as frein harmonique, literally harmonic brakes. These freins, invented by Cavaillé-Coll, are U-shaped pieces of brass that are placed in front of the pipe mouths at a 45-degree angle. They enable the pipes to speak proficiently while simultaneously imparting a genuine French accent to the tone.
And here is that French 19th century string stop, the 8-foot viol da gamba, modeled after those of Aristide Cavaillé-Coll. You can almost hear the rosin. The celeste is scaled smaller than the gamba and is tuned a bit sharp to the gamba. This deliberate detuning creates an undulating effect, full of richness and warmth that is essential for both the solo literature and liturgical accompaniment. Continuing with music by Marcel Dupré, here is his setting of In Dulce Jubilo, using that viol da gamba and the celeste.
The violin Diapason 8, seen here, and the principal 4, seen here, are both additions made to the organ in 2018. They are new scales for Fisk, devised especially for Opus 145. These two stops are not modeled upon any pre-existing stops, though they certainly have ancestors in earlier Fisk Swell diapasons and principles. These two stops have many important roles in both liturgy and literature. With them, Fisk has introduced a pair of lighter and somewhat brighter foils to the hammered lead great open diapason and octave. The violin diapason is hammered spotted metal being an alloy of 50% lead, 50% tin, and the principal is made of hammered tin. They also offer some much-needed principal tone under expression with which the organist can effectively support and accompany the choir and other instrumentalists. And finally, they provide a foundation for the Swell principal chorus. So, while these stops do not have any specific antecedents, they serve the organ well in so many important functions.
Let me now demonstrate for you the beautiful vocal quality of our 8-foot violin diapason with this excerpt from Bach's Canzona. The pipes of the 4-foot principal have such a wonderful clarity of speech. I will demonstrate this with an excerpt from the Faenza Codex. When I combine the 8-foot violin diapason and the 4-foot principal, I can play Vivaldi. The 8-foot chimney flute has a wooden Borden base that at tenor C changes to hammered lead pipes. These wooden pipes of the 8-foot chimney flute are affixed to the top of the swell enclosure and on the side. Starting at tenor C, the remainder of the pipes of this stop are hammered lead pipes fitted with caps that feature small bore chimneys. You can see these chimneys here. Of French ancestry, this stop is a colorful, gentle stopped flute the only such voice in this division. The color in the tone is due to the odd-numbered harmonics that are created and emphasized by the chimneys. I will play an excerpt from Brahms to demonstrate the gentle, colorful beauty of the 8-foot chimney flute, the only stopped flute in the Swell division. The traverse flute 4, seen here and extending towards the front of the wind chest, and the 2-foot recorder, seen here, in spite of their English names, are very much French Romantic overblowing double-length flutes. As such, they are closely related to the great division's harmonic flute 8, though of smaller scale and a less ascendant tonal profile. Their characteristically pure and singing tone, as well as their superlative blending capabilities, make them valuable in a great variety of musical roles in both repertoire and service playing. I can demonstrate the harmonic nature of the 4-foot traverse flute with this excerpt from the 16th century piece Upon La Mi Re. I will accompany in the left hand with an ostinato bass, and you'll hear the soaring melodic line coming out in the right hand. While not often heard alone, here is the charming 2-foot recorder. Now let's hear the 2 harmonic flutes together, the 4-foot traverse flute and the 2-foot recorder, in this charming little versette by Lefebvre Bailey. The 8 and 4-foot flutes are often used in combination. Here's an example. The swell is home to a pair of French classical flute mutations. The Nazard 2 2/3, seen here in the middle, and the tierce 1 3/5, seen here to the left. The scaling of these ranks is after that recorded by 18th century Benedictine monk and master organ builder Dom Bédos de Swell. These are his menu taille, or small dimension scales. Dom Bédos's grosse taille, or large dimension scales, were reserved for vast cathedral spaces. These mutation ranks can be drawn individually or together and are used in combination with the chimney flute, traverse flute, and or the recorder to create a variety of idiomatic color effects, usually for solo melody lines. Drawing all 5 of these ranks together, the 8, the 4, the 2 2/3, the 2, and the 1 3/5, results in the pungent and somewhat plaintive French sonority known as the cornet. The mutations on the organ are used to color the sound, and in combination with other stops to create solo voices. The 2 2/3 Nazard, if I were to play middle C, is actually sounding a note an octave and a fifth higher than we would expect. That is, if we were at the piano. I will demonstrate how the Nazard combines with the chimney flute. I'll even add some tremulant so that you can hear how this mutation works with another stop to create a solo voice. Combining the tierce and the Nazard with the 8-foot chimney flute, the 4-foot traverse flute, and the 2-foot recorder creates that cornet, this wonderfully pungent French sonority. It's very useful in playing hymns, but it has lots of applications in the literature. Here's an excerpt from one of Decant's Noëls. The oboe, which is French for oboe, is a mild, very characteristic solo and ensemble reed voice. From middle C on up, its resonators have a double taper, narrow at the lower ends, then flaring to be wider at the top. Its strength of tone is controllable due to the tapered, plated shallot construction. The plates are machined to have a teardrop-shaped opening. The French say "a larme." The timbre of the oboe is characteristically woody, hollow, and very lyrical. This stop is eminently useful in a wide variety of literature. I can't imagine an organ without an 8-foot oboe. It has so many uses within the literature. Here, I will play a short excerpt from Franck's First Chorale, and you can hear it in combination with other foundation stops on the organ, because particularly in 19th century French music, the oboe was part of the forme d'orgue. is often put in combination with a flute or a string. I will play this famous musical example using just the oboe by itself. In January of 2020, a large and generous gift was given to the church to add additional pipework to the organ that had to be prepared for when the instrument was constructed. 2 of those additions are found right here. Where these empty holes are located and seen in view is where the 8-foot trumpet stop will be located. This is a stop that will truly enliven the tonal profile of Opus 145. The full-length conical tin resonators, scaled after Cavaillé-Coll, together with a form Bertuneche shallot construction, which is cylindrical, partially open brass shallots, give this stop its characteristic French Romantic sound. Robust and extroverted in the bass, slightly milder and more lyrical in the treble, for those lovely Franck melodies, with plenty of that wiry French accent throughout. A super useful stop, especially as it's under expression. Located next to the 8-foot trumpet will be the 4-rank plangeux, and you can see where it will be located here. This 4-rank plangeux will complete the flute chorus in the swell division, creating a higher-pitched, more petite foil to that of the great. This allows for a more gradual buildup of sound, providing a bridge to the full great plenum. It is a suitable secondary chorus for performance of certain Baroque repertoire, such as Johann Sebastian Bach's Dorian Toccata. And, being under expression, it is very useful in accompanying choral anthems. Pipework for 3 stops on the swell division remain unfunded. Right next to the swell mixture will be the 8-foot flute celeste. The flute celeste will be the companion rank to the earlier discussed 8-foot chimney flute. It will be of similar construction to the chimney flute, however, it will not have the chimneys. It thus offers a more neutral tone, and, as was the case with the string celeste, the flute celeste is tuned sharp to its partner rank, creating, in this instance, flute-toned undulations that ooze mystery and muted sumptuousness. The second stop on the organ that remains unfunded yet prepared for will be located right here on the left side. This will be the 16-foot bombard. It's the lowest pitched reed on the swell division, and at full length, it's essentially a trumpet at 16-foot pitch. Thanks to conical resonators and partially open cylindrical shallots, it will produce a freewheeling, snarly tone that is illustrative of Cavaillé-Coll's ranks of the same name. With the swell shutters closed, the bombard will have the effect of a caged tiger. As the shades are gradually opened, it will grow into the organ's French climax stop at the base end of the sound spectrum. The third remaining stop of the swell division that remains unfunded is also the 4th reed of the swell. This is the 8-foot voix humaine, or simply human voice. It will be located here on the far right side of the swell chest. Of 18th century French origin,
where it appeared on instruments as a somewhat buzzy regal stop attempting to imitate what must have been rather crass human voices. By the 19th century, organ builders had refined pipe construction and voicing techniques to produce a smoother, more distant, and nostalgic impression. It is very often called for in 19th and 20th century European organ music, and with the tremulant drawn, can create a convincing human voice choral sonority. One of the little toys of this organ is located right here, on top of the great expression box. This is the Schimmelstern, or quite literally, the bell star. It's a percussion instrument that is particularly effective at Christmas time. Its little tinkling sound is made by a series of brass bells that are struck. I'm going to go downstairs and turn the stop on, and I'll let you experience it for yourself. Thank you for joining us as we took an in-depth look at the Swell division of the C.B. Fisk Opus 145 pipe organ. I owe a special thank you and gratitude to my dear friend David Pike, who is the tonal director of C.B. Fisk. He provided me with some wonderful information, particularly in regards to the descriptions of the various stops. Please join us next time as we take a look at the great division of the organ and explore that in depth. Thank you.